So hello everyone, and I'm almost about to start this next session. So it's almost 4 p.m. I'll just wait for a minute or so. So before we get started, just a quick question to anyone. Anyone has any thoughts about what we did? So we have to complete our queries from yesterday. So the time is 4 p.m. So I will get started. So let me go over here. So what we're going to do. So this was the challenge what we were looking at yesterday. So we had done a mean. So basically we had done this one, let's say for example, and we had done a group by of the year, right? And we had done a mean. At the same time, we had also done a group by with respect to the name and then found a mean, right? Now, the only thing that we found was there was one problem. When we did a group by name, if we calculated the mean, we were calculating the mean of every column, including something like the year. And there is no sense in calculating the mean of the year. Whereas there is some sense in calculating the mean of things like sales. There is no sense in calculating either rank or year. So now what we thought is, supposing, is it possible to further group by this data frame that we got, that is this already grouped by data frame, further by year, right? And that's when we hit a problem, because what we realized is that because it was calculating the mean also of the year, we got these weird numbers like 1982.5, which makes no sense. So for this reason, what we realized is we have to either change our group by, or we have to use a custom function. So we will use a number of different methods, and the reason why I'm going to use a number of different methods is because I want to show what are the different possibilities you can use with data frames and how one scores with respect to the other, right? Because remember, in data science, it's not just about somehow getting the job done, it's also making sure that you are most efficient, right? So we will look at that right now. So before that, let me just go and import numpy as np, import pandas as pd. And once this is done, I will just do read CSV of data sets. And let me just check if I got it right. Yes, I did. So let me go and quickly pick up what I did here. So that is, I will just go and pick up this one, vddf underscore by name. So if you check what is vddf underscore name, you see that it's a group by object, right? So this is where we had reached. Now, once before I continue, just a few quick questions to anyone. Does anyone have any doubts about what we did so far? Okay, so if there's none, I will continue. So what we are going to do is, for example, what we thought was, what if I try to write a custom function, right? So let's say, for example, I write a custom function saying calc, I don't know what, calc mean. And this takes an argument for us now, x. And what if I try to apply this function, right? Now, we had seen that if we try to use the usual sense of apply, right? So let's say, for example, you see, let's look at the help. It says apply function groupwise and combine the results together, right? Now, I'll tell you what the significance of this is If instead I just take video game df and just take name, and now I say apply, and you see there is a difference, right? Take a good look at the help, right? The arguments available and the help, right? Apply a function along the axis of the data frame. These are the arguments. Now let me go over to this one and let me look at the help, and you see the help is very different. It's a totally different help. Does anyone have any question here?
So what distinction are we making between the two?
One of them is a data frame. The other is a data frame group by object. So we are now here applying apply, or rather using the apply function on a data frame, right? Apply function along the axis of the data frame. Whereas here it says apply function groupwise and combine the results together. So it says you are not applying it to a data frame. That is not there. This is another object altogether, right? And if you look, there is function, there is star arg, star quark. I will talk about them little later, but these are just unnamed arguments, right? Most importantly, like here, there is access. There is all these. Those are not there here, right? And this is why in the previous lecture, when I said access is equal to 1, it just gave an error. Oh, sorry, I have to do something because this won't do. Let me just say print x. And now we got an error because it says access is equal to 1. See, if you look here, unexpected keyword argument access, because that is not there here. There is no such argument called access. There is only a function, right? Does anyone have any doubt here? So basically, this is a concept of object-oriented programming, right? Data frame is an object. A data frame grouped by object is another object, right? So each object will have attributes and methods. And the attributes and methods that are available with one group will not be there with another group. Right? It's like different species of animals. A dog is different from a cat. A cat is different from a monkey. All of them have different attributes, different methods. Think about it that way. In the same in programming, in object-oriented programming, every object has certain attributes and certain methods. Right? So does anyone have any doubts about what we did?
If we, like here we're using apply with a group by object, so will the return type also be a group by object? Or
that's a question. So let's look at the, let's look at what we get. The function passed to apply must take a data frame as its first argument and return a data frame, series, or scalar, right? Apply will then take care of combining the results back together into a single data frame or series. Okay. Now let's start playing around with this and see what we get. So the first thing I have to do is I have to get rid of this axis because it's saying there is no axis argument here. So let's say, for example, I just say calc mean. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this group by object, pass it to this mean, and print it out. Right? Simple as that. And this is something I would encourage you to do because there are two things you should always do: print the value and print the type of the value. Because whenever you're playing around in data science, look at what you're getting and what is the type of that object that you're getting. Right? So first, let's print it out. So here you see, this is what we get. And it appears like as if we are getting every row of the data frame. You see, it's exactly the same: rank, platform, year, genre, sports, all these things, right? Now that we have this, let's copy this and let's look at the type. Actually, this won't work because you have to apply something. This will not work. Oh, this command is still running. Let me just stop it. There's no need for it to continue. Let me paste it. And here, let me type type of X. Right? So what I'm doing is I'm saying that I am passing the video df name group by object to this function, and I'm going to see what I'm getting. What is the type of this? So you see what is coming. We have a whole list of data frames. That's what we're getting, a whole list of data frames. Now, can anyone have any doubts or want to comment on what it is that we're getting here? I would suggest that try to do a little bit of brainstorming or questioning, because this is how you can actually get into data science, by trying to figure out what are the different objects.
So each data frame is related to each row or column here?
Each group by object. See, remember, we are doing a group by. Video df name is basically, where is it? Video df name is basically the data frame to which I'm applying group by name. All right. So this group by collects the rows of this data frame, divides them up into unique values of the name, and creates a group by object. So if you come down in here, you look, you see all these data frames. What these are those collection of rows of all the unique names. That is what it is.
Okay, got it.
Anyone else? Okay, let me go and tell you something. Let me try something else out. Here, for example, we did print x. Let's say I say print star into 40. What that means is, after every such x elements, basically it is iterating through the rows, because remember, apply will always iterate through the rows of whatever you pass to it. So if I say this, I'm going to print one value, one particular row, or rather block, and I'm going to give a break of asterisk. So let's see what this looks like. So here, let's look at what we're getting. So you see here, you get all these values, right? And let's keep scrolling and see what we get. You see here, once in a while, there are a number of values, right? I mean, it is a little stretched out because we have a number of columns, but I could kind of reduce it. Let me reduce it, because then it'll be easier to understand. Let's say I have NA sales, and I have, let's say, global sales. Okay. So I'm basically just extracting two columns so that I can see it in a better way. This is actually a little difficult to understand. I think there is a problem. Let me just stop it and let me run, because I think the previous one was still running. Yeah, now it is easier to understand. So now that you come here, see what we're getting. This is one value, right? It's rank 4754. Let's keep going. And here you see, you have a group of columns. Sorry, I'm making a mistake. This is a group of rows. This is one particular game where all these games have the same name. So they have the same name, and this group by, when you are saying group by, the group by object has collected all these names together and put them as one little block. So when we are printing them out, we are printing all these rows out, and they have the same name. So let me also try something else out. Let me see. Let me try to do x dot index comma x. Let me see if this works. No, apparently it doesn't, because I will need the index is something else. Anyway, I hope all of you are able to understand what I'm trying to do. Does anyone have any doubts about what I did? Okay, so let me continue. Now, we are getting, we are in the apply calc mean, we are getting back all these type values, right? I just hope I stopped it. Yes, I have stopped it. So now the question is, what do we want to do? Let's just copy this again to another row so that we have this for reference. And let us define what it is that what is our objective. So what we want to do is calculate mean for NA sales and global sales, and we want to calculate one value for the year, right? So for the year, we don't want to calculate mean because mean for the year means nothing, right? We want to calculate one value for the year. So what we want to do is, if there are a group of rows, right, we want to calculate one value for the year and we want to calculate the mean of these years. Now, what will this value be if there are different values? We can use either the maximum or we can use the minimum, right? Or if you really want, we can even use the mean, right? So what I want to do is I want to mix up the functions. So a question, does anyone have any doubts about what I'm trying to do?
So this max mean for those two columns, sales and global sales.
No, mean will be for NA sales and global sales, but for the year, all right? For the year, if the years are different, I would like to take either the maximum of that, or I would like to take the minimum, and maybe even I'll take the mean. So what I would like to say is, for example, and the reason why I'm saying is, in the previous class, we had seen that if I say video DF name and I say mean, this will just give me the mean of all the columns, all right? So mean of rank, mean of year, North America, everything. But we had already seen that taking the mean of something like rank or year doesn't make much sense, right? It might be better to take another value such as the maximum or the minimum or something else, right? Because quite often in data science, you would like to have different functions for the different columns. For sales, it makes perfect sense to have average. But for the others, you might consider wanting to have another function like mean or min, max or min, right? So this is what I want to do. So I want to have another function for the year and another function for other columns. So we would like to mix up our functions because now we can't do this. We cannot do mean. So I hope, does it make it clear what I'm trying to do?
Yes, thank you.
Any other doubt?
Yeah, before we do this, is it possible to pass only a few columns into the mean function itself?
Yes, you can. See, like for example, I could do global sales and NA sales. So what I'm doing is, this is the group by object. From the group by object, I am extracting only two columns. And in these two columns, I'm now saying, give me the mean. So if you see, now I get the mean of just these two.
No, but this collapses the entire group by object into two columns. I mean, while retaining the other columns within the mean function itself as an argument.
No, mean cannot. Mean will just take, mean only takes two arguments. That is, mean takes, all you can say is, you can specify, I think, the axis. So you cannot skip a row. You cannot skip a row.
Okay, all right.
Any other doubt? Okay, so let me just copy this somewhere else so that we have it here. And now let me see what we can do. So we saw that each X is a data frame, right? And we saw that each X is basically a collection of all the rows that have the same name. So now what do we want to do? For each of this collection, we want to return a series. And in that series, we want the mean for global sales, the mean for North America sales, and for the year, we want the minimum. All right, that's what we want to do. Okay, now let me do it and show you, because rather than once we do it, there'll be much more importance in getting questions. Supposing I say I want to return, okay, I want to return X. I would say global sales. I would say mean. I want to return X penny sales mean, and I want to say X of year min. All right. So basically what I'm saying is X is a collection of columns, right? Each one is a data frame, right? Important. Come back up here and look. Each one is a data frame. Remember, once we have a data frame, that is X is a data frame, within that data frame, you can extract any column of the data frame using the name of the column, right? And once you have that, you can apply a method to create one value. So if I want to take the mean, I can take the mean using dot mean, or I can take min, right? So does anyone think, can anyone guess what will happen? Let me give it a value here. So let me just say A is equal to, right? Can anyone guess what this A will be, the result A, because I'm returning something? Okay, let me just see it. Let me just run it and see what we get. Still running. I hope you noticed how long it took to run this code, right? And we'll talk about this soon, because remember, we have only 12,000 rows, right? But it still took almost 4 seconds, right? So I'll comment on this soon. So this is what we have, all right? Something very strange. We have the name, and then we have something here. So you see here, we have 11,493 rows. We have an object. The data type is an object. So let's see what the type of this is. A is a series. We have returned a series, right? What is the value of the series? Each value of the series is this tuple. So for example, let me say what is a.iloc 0. This is what it is. Let me say what is the type of this one. This is the tuple. Can anyone now tell me, can anyone like to answer a question or comment? I would strongly encourage you to start brainstorming, because this is where you can actually figure out what this group by object is doing.
I have a doubt in the method we've written.
Okay.
So here we are accessing like X global sales. So we are treating X as a data frame.
Yes.
But this with df name is a group by object, and that is what is being passed as the argument to the function. So is that not a mismatch?
No, you can see it's like this. X, like I said, X here, okay, we saw before that X is a data frame, right? Now, when you have X as a data frame, you can extract any column from that data frame, right? Now, when you collect a column from a data frame, you can then apply a method. Now, what exactly is your question after that? There should not be a problem, because if you collect X, it will give an error if you look for something which does not exist. For example, I'll tell you, let's say, let me just come down and show you what that is. Let me see what is video df. Video df.head. Okay, now we had already seen that when you do a group by, right, it will remove, let me reject some columns. So for example, let's take only North America year, North America sales, and global sales. Okay, so let's go back here and I'll rewrite this equation, or this function rather. So now I am going to take a smaller part of the data frame. So I'm taking year, NA sales, global sales. All right, this will still work. But why? Because all these three columns, right, global sales, North America sales, and year, are present in this data frame that we are passing to the apply method. Now, supposing I look for platform. Now you will get an error. Why? Because it will say platform is not there, key error. If you try to, in a data frame, if you try to access a column, you can always access it. If the column doesn't exist, you get a key error. Does that answer your question?
Actually, my question was that this video df name is being passed to the function calcmean, right?
Video df name is not totally, what is, yeah, it is being passed, but remember the apply method iterates through every row of the group by object, right? Every row. Now, each row of the group by object is itself a collection of rows. And each collection of rows themselves forms a data frame.
Oh, okay.
See, this is what we did. I would strongly suggest that you try this print method, because that's why I wanted to show you the print method. See here, you see here, this is one particular case where there is a row of a group by object, but that row of a group by object has so many rows because these are names which are repeated. So this itself is a data frame.
All right. Yeah.
Any other doubt? So I'll just come down here. Okay, this is, let me just comment this out because it is causing an error. Actually, let me comment, remove this so that we don't. Okay, let me come back here. Does anyone have any doubts about what we did? So what I was trying to show you is we returned this collection. All right. Now, when we return a collection like this, it creates a tuple. All right. So what we are trying to do is here, this data frame, or rather the result of this, becomes a series, because we are providing, even though we are actually passing three values, returning three values, the way it works internally is this becomes one object, and that object becomes a tuple, that is this tuple here, right? And therefore I printed this one value here. See, this is the 0th column, right? Or rather the 0th row. So this 0th row has this particular key. It has this, or rather it doesn't have a key. The key is this name, that is 98 Koshin, and the value are these, right? This is the value. So now the question is this what we want? The answer is we don't. What we want is, we want this total result to be a data frame, right? So again, it's important to understand. Let's go back and see what is a data frame. Let's say, for example, we say VFDF, video DF dot head. What is a data frame? A data frame is a collection of series, right? So for example, you see, this is a series. And let's look at what the type of this is. This is a series, Panda Core series, right? So what we are trying to do, we want this result A to be a data frame. So what should we be passing here? Return. Can anyone make a guess? Okay, again, go back to the basic concept of apply. Apply is iterating through every row of this group by object. Every row of the group by object is a data frame, which is a collection of rows of every unique name of video game, right? So we want this end result to be a data frame. So what we need to pass back here to form a data frame, if A has to be a data frame, then for every iteration of this group by object, we need to pass back a series. If we pass back a series, then the collection of this series becomes a data frame. Okay, now let me just do this and then we'll have a little bit of a discussion. Okay, now how do we create a series? We say pd.series, right? And we have to close it. Actually, let me just cut this out so that we get it clear. Let me paste it here. So I want to create a series and I want to return these three. So how will I do so? Let me look at the result. Look at what it is. This is how you declare a series. PD series data index. All right. If you do not specify an index, then it will not create a separate index. It will rather take the index which it already is there. Right? Never mind. What we need to do is we need to say data is equal to and pass these in. Now let's run this and see what we get. Notice how much time it's taking, because we're going to have a little discussion about that, maybe not in this lecture, but maybe in the next one. Does anyone have any doubts about what we did? Can anyone comment? Let's go down and see what is type. Is a data frame. Before, type A was a series, right? Before, when we looked at type A, it was a series above. Now we have a data frame. Does anyone have any doubts about what I did? Oh, I'm sorry. I made a mistake here. That's why we're getting this. Does anyone have any doubts again? I would strongly say that if you have any doubts, please do speak up, because this is a fairly complicated topic, which is why I would like to take my time and go through it, because usually in most data science courses, if you see, they just write this out and it's like some kind of magic. But it's very confusing to a beginner, and in the end, it only scares you, which is why I'm trying to take my time over it. So please do ask if you have any doubts. Okay, let me tell you what it is. We are taking this group by object, we are passing a function. What that means is, as per the apply method, it will iterate through every row of the group by object, right? That's what X is, every row of the group by object. Since it's a row of a group by object, each row is itself a collection of rows. It is a data frame. Now, we want the result to be another data frame. And what that means is this result has to be a collection of series. Remember, a data frame is just a collection of series. like a table is a collection of rows. All right. So in the same way, what that means is if we want this result to be a data frame, for every row of the data frame of the group by object, we have to return a series. And what that means is the series, we have to pass back all the values that we want. So here you see series. We are passing these values, which is what we want. So taking the mean of the global sales, taking the mean of the North America sales, and we're taking the minimum of the year. We are passing these three as the data of the series. All right. And in the end, this is what we get. And we can always just do a sort by, because if we do a sort values, it is much clearer. By is equal to global sales. Sorry, wrong spelling. And we just say ascending is equal to false. What is the error? Oh, okay. I'll tell you the reason. Because we don't have a column name. Look at what we did. We don't have a column name. We'll talk about it very soon. But you see here, the result is exactly what we would have got with respect to video DF, right? Let me just do video DF head. We are almost out of time. We just have a few more. But you see, these results are very similar to what we get here. So what we have done, we have taken the mean of the global sales. We have taken the mean of the North America sales. We have taken the minimum of the year. For every game which is repeated, we produce only one value. That is why we have only 11,493 rows. Now, why have we lost the columns? We have lost the columns because we are passing a series. A series does not have columns, right? So therefore, when you do this, A loses the column names. All we have to do then is we just have to specify the column names for the name. That's not a problem. So for example, if I write a dot columns is equal to global sales, NA sales, and year, we should get back the same data frame. So does anyone have any doubts about what I did? While this is running, I'll be happy to take any doubts. When it executes, I'll execute A and tell you what it is.
So the conversion from data frame series to data frames is what is taking all the time and the resources?
That is the next thing. The reason why is we are creating, we are taking, one, we are calculating these things. Two, we are creating a series, right? Let me just show you what this is. Let me actually do that, copy this thing so that oh my god, it's now B is equal to global sales, because remember we have renamed our column. So now you see, now this is exactly the data frame we have. So what exactly is happening? We have 11,493 rows. For 11,493 rows, we are creating a series object, right? So this is creating a series object 11,493 times. Now you need to appreciate this, that every time you create an object, you are creating attributes, you are creating methods, you're creating a lot of things. So it's like building a house. So this is the reason why this method is so slow. I'm almost out of time, so I'll just stop right now and just take questions. We might be cut off though. Okay, I think we're almost out of time. So I'm going to say goodbye right now. And we will not have a lecture tomorrow. We'll have a lecture on Monday. I'll post the